Good morning, everybody. It is what day is it? Tuesday, February 4th. It's about 9 a.m. here in Zhongshan, China. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bored. I'm a little, you know, as some of you may know, I am stuck here on my college campus. I can leave if I want to, but if I left, I wouldn't be able to come back. And this is my home. So this is a 2-week quarantine, and I am currently in day 6. This is the start of day 6. As far as it's a cold, rainy day today, so, I wouldn't go out anyways. As far as what I do on a daily basis, I get a lot of rest. I have been cooking. I've been making videos and doing a lot of exercise. I've taken a couple of online Chinese lessons. I do have this guitar that my friend Randall gave me a while back that is still collecting dust in the corner, and he sent me a video of his wife learning the ukulele. So maybe that's something I should put more time into. Is that but for the most part, it's not so bad. It's been very quiet at night, especially. It's dead quiet here. In the morning, I'm woken up by the birds in the trees. But then the only interaction I have with people is twice per day. I have to go down to the security guard shack at the front gate, where they take my temperature and log it down, and then I have to send that to my boss because they are watching it now. So everything so that's twice a day I have to do that. They sent someone to my front door in a huge getup, take a photo of me and take my temperature and record it. But then they said they won't be doing that anymore, that I need to go down to the security guard shack. And so my temperature is, of course, normal, 36 degrees Celsius, as it always has been, which is fine. So I'm here. We can talk about all kinds of things. We can talk about there's some things I do want to say in this live stream, but mostly I've been getting a lot of comments and questions and a lot of strange conspiracy theory type stuff that and I'm being asked about this, things like, oh, have you heard about this, have you heard about that? And it just makes me scratch my head a little bit. Because I am isolated, I've just also decided to grow my hair out, see what I can do about that, just for fun. I'm obviously not working. I don't have to maintain a professional image at the moment. So I haven't grown my hair out in 8 years. So there was a few years where I grew out my hair. Excuse me. I have my tea. So I thought, well, I got these 2 weeks, and this is about, 2 weeks worth of growth. We'll see what happens. As you get older, you lose your hair anyways. I got back here as well, but it'd be interesting to see how I can enjoy a different look. Here in Zhongshan, the situation remains pretty much the status quo. There are currently 25, last time I checked, 25 confirmed cases in my city of 3.5 million. And as a result of that, the entire city is shut down. Well, not shut down, but the people have elected to stay home because they're frightened. The government has asked people to not go out and to stay home. This is my city, by the way. This is not Wuhan. This is not northern China. Every city has different measures that they put into place to try and combat the virus. But I do know that people still go out. They go to restaurants. They go to the mall. The shops in the mall are open. The movie theaters are closed. Uh, there are a few private gyms that are open and people are exercising. Uh, some of the Most of the major parks are closed, but some of the smaller ones are open, and there are people trying to have some sense of a normal life. But the vast majority of people have barricaded themselves in their homes, and they don't go out unless they go to the supermarket for food. I cannot go to the supermarket. I cannot leave the campus. I'm okay for now. They told me to throw out my chicken. I had a lot of frozen chicken, but there was the discovery of N1H1 in Hunan province, which is the province north of us. And so they just said, okay, everyone throw out your chicken. There's no reports that I've seen that it's in humans. It was just a poultry farm that, they killed all the chickens there. But nonetheless, they said just to be safe, throw out your chicken. So I am running short on meat. I have plenty of water, but maybe about 2 weeks worth of water. So I should be okay on that. I have one banana left and some frozen strawberries. Out of yogurt. I have orange juice. I have a little bit of beef for meat, and I have some frozen vegetables. But as far as fresh foods, I have none. So, and it's not that I don't have access to it. I have friends who have offered to bring me food, and that's fine. I can get deliveries. So I'm not concerned about running out of food or anything. I have a wonderful circle of friends that understand my situation, and they actually think it's kind of funny. One of my friends said, we should have a barbecue. We'll set up shop right outside the gate, and with you on one side and me on the other. You cook on your side, and yeah, that would be funny. I'm not sure the security guards would go for that, though. I will be releasing a couple of other videos, one more or two more on my trip. I just finished my video on Huangyao, which was a very interesting little walkabout tour of this ancient town in Guangxi when it was empty. It was closed, but the local villagers allowed me and my friend in to spend the night in a local hotel, and they allowed us to walk around and film whatever we wanted to. They were actually very, very welcoming and very nice. So I appreciate that, because as you've seen, a lot of these other villages have roadblocks, and the government says you're not supposed to do that, but they're doing it anyway. These roadblocks, signs, and then people from the village taking turns watching the ins and outs for the small little communities that are there. That was the same thing in Huangyao, but they were very welcoming for me. So I appreciate that. And the hotel that I stayed at there, I have another video. You guys know I love hotels, and this was a very unique hotel. It was maybe a 400-year-old building, 400-year-old building, but the interior was completely redone and gutted and had a very modern design. It's something that I've seen in magazines and online about these old Chinese buildings being converted into modern spaces. It's very popular in Beijing right now. And this one was designed by a design company in Shenzhen. And I always wanted to check that out. I think it's a very interesting concept, and I enjoyed my stay. It was a very small little guest house that I stayed at, and we were the only ones there. The owner was very happy to take us in. So I had a great experience with that. But when I came back to Zhongshan, it seemed like life is normal. And then a couple days later, they locked me down. As if you've seen my quarantine video, you understand why. And I don't want to be locked up in my house. I'm locked up on the campus. I can roam the campus freely. I go running on the running track, and I can walk around, but I go out and I feed the kittens. But Other than that, it's not a very large campus. It's actually, as college campuses go, it's pretty small. I mean, it's up on a hill, and I can see the whole city from most places on the college, and I can see, that life goes on outside the gates, and people are driving around. The buses are running. The public transportation is not shut down in the city, and it just leads me to wonder, because everyone knows that this is going to continue to go on for quite some time. Like I said, I'm on day 6, so I got 8 more days, 9 more days, including today. And then when I'm done, are they going to let me back out and let me come and go freely? That's something that's a concern of mine. I don't think they will. I think it'll be business as usual, or to continue the status quo. If you leave, you can't come back. So some people said, why don't you book it down to, Vietnam or Thailand? They crossed my mind, of course, but I won't be doing that because many of these countries have I don't want to get on public transportation and be subject to another 14-day, quarantine in some country when I get there, and then not be able to come back to China when I want to, because people are having trouble not just leaving China, but coming back. Flights are being canceled, borders are being closed. So that doesn't seem like a solution. But I would love to be able to just hop in my car and drive down to the local beach and just go for a walk, and just go up into the mountains, go for a walk. I'd like to have some sense of normalcy. And everyone's saying it's special times, yes, but it's going to be special times for a long time. I maintain that, the virus is serious, but it's not something that we should be so fearful that we lock ourselves in our houses for the next year. It's this. I just don't believe that that's the case. This is something we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to live with it. Now, for right now, because it is the tail end of the Spring Festival, the government said, okay, everyone, be in your homes, stay home. I get that. It makes sense just to extend the holiday for a few more days, if not another week, to limit the spread of it as best they can. But starting February 10th, all non-essential government workers are going back to work. And businesses are going to start to open up again, and life will slowly return to normal, hopefully. But it's going to be a long, long time because consumer confidence is very low. The entire economy of this country is shut down. I mean, the factories are closed. The movie theaters are closed, so no one's going to the movies. Half the restaurants that I saw were closed. And I've got video from my friends in town. They're in the malls, and they say the same thing. Many of the shops in the malls are open. Some are closed, but there are very few customers. So businesses, it looks like Spring Festival has just continued, and it just never stopped, other than the movie theaters, of course. But, there's the car wash down the street is open. Before I was locked up and on the campus, I don't want to say locked up because it is my decision to stay. I can leave. So, but anyways, before I did, I drove by the local hospital. There's a giant local hospital here in my neighborhood, and I drove by expecting to see chaos and stuff, but it wasn't. The parking lot was for the most part empty. There were some people walking around, just getting their treatment, and some doctors and nurses on duty. But in this part of Zhongshan, which is a factory neighborhood, there are residents, but for the most part, most of the residents are living in the dormitories of the factories, or they are families staying at home, and the hospital is not overrun. So that's another thing I'd like to squash. I don't know the situation of Wuhan. I'm not there, so I can't speak to it. But from what I've seen, the hospitals here in Zhongshan are not overrun. The doctors and nurses, by the way, I know a lot, just like other people who, who spew their opinions on YouTube. I have a lot of doctor friends too, and I talk to them all the time. And they're frustrated and tired because they have been on duty through the holiday, and whether they're busy or not. And in many cases, many hospitals in some other cities, they're very busy. Here in Zhongshan, they are moderately busy, but it's business as usual for them. They did see a large influx. They told me they saw a large influx of people coming when initially this broke out, but now things have calmed down, and they're not seeing as many people lining up to get treatment other than your regular people. There's many kinds of doctors. It's not all ER visits. In fact, every time I've gone to the ER here, I've walked by the ER, it's completely empty. There's it. I haven't seen anything happen there. Although some of my doctor friends are ER doctors and they tell me about it. But you have orthopedics, you have obstetricians, and there's women giving birth, and then there's old people that are getting their bones checked, and then there's medicine being handed out at the pharmacies. It's business as usual at the hospitals here. So that's what I've seen, and that's what I've heard from my doctor friends. I will also say that I want there to be a sense of normalcy back in the city. They've told us to stay put, and most people are. And there's a good thing behind that. I am inspired by my Chinese friends here. As you've seen, many YouTubers and many foreigners have fled. They've escaped, as they call it. They've gone back to their home countries, or some were already gone on holiday and are happily on vacation sitting on a beach in Thailand. That's fine. But I've been enduring this with my Chinese friends, but not together. It's really a strange dynamic going on. We are all sitting in our homes, every one of us. My friends and family. You see some really sweet videos on WeChat of people playing the piano and singing "Let It Be" with their father, and children doing their homework and playing board games in the living room, and it's really cool. And everyone is doing that. So there's a huge sense of community that is separated because they're not together, but everyone's doing the same thing in their homes. And it's really inspiring to witness that. And so I feel for that. I think that's a good thing. So if you have any questions out there, by all means, please send them over to me. I'd love to hear them. I just got another message here. Yep. Some people have canceled their trip plans to come to China. This is another thing. I just saw a podcast that I didn't see the whole thing. I caught the tail end, but the gist of it was how the WHO has been praising China for their response, but reluctant to take additional measures because they want they don't want to hurt the economies of the world anymore. And the criticism was the WHO is putting money and economy ahead of people's lives. And again, I want to reiterate, you need to put things into perspective a little bit. I'm not discounting people who get sick, but there is a direct connection between healthy economies and the health of a people. It's not always rich people protecting their fortunes. It's also bringing people out of poverty, sustaining, businesses. I have many friends here who are business owners. Many of my students in the past were business owners. My girlfriend is a business owner, and uh, this has been extremely detrimental towards uh, their livelihoods. Yeah, and these are people with families, and they have children, and they need to have money to take care of their children, not just their children's education, but also their health requirements, and just to have a normal, stable life. And if they don't have a means in which to earn an income, or their businesses are failing, then that there's a direct contribution to the health of society, um, when it relates to the health of the economies. So I think it's a legitimate concern. Many of you have seen my girlfriend. She ran a house cleaning service, a business, and pretty successful. Here in China, they call them AIs, that come into your house and they clean your house. And so she ran a company like that. She was the owner, and obviously there has been no income and no business for her, and the government won't let her open up yet. She still needs to make payroll this month, so she's coming out of pocket for that. And she understands and can project the future, that this type of business will be very slow to rebuild in the coming months. And so she was projecting losses for months and months on end, and just elected to shut it down. So she has lost her business as a result of this, and that's very unfortunate. Now, that's just one very small example. Um, of course, there's other businesses and small factories and retail and restaurants, and many of these, especially in China, there's an awful lot of mom and pop shops that are going to be suffering for this. So the economies of the world are still very, very important in fighting, um, for public health. I think everyone can agree with that. I hope you can. I got this message in a WeChat group, and I thought it was really great. And it shows an awful lot of positivity, but I think it also reflects how most people are feeling right now. Uh, it was sent in Chinese with an English translation below it. So I'm going to read to you the translation. I believe this is something from someone from Wuhan. Maybe. I actually don't know. Says no noise, no traffic jam. That's another thing. Yes, no noise, no traffic jam. It's a continuation of the Spring Festival. There's a couple of great videos. People have been just going out and filming the city, just static videos. I saw one yesterday. It blew my mind. I can't remember. Dan, I'm sorry. I can't remember. I'll try and find the link after the live stream. I'll try to find the link and put it down below. Unable to connect to chat. If you can chat with me, say hi. Says I can't connect to the chat. I can. I hope you guys can too. Yeah, I'm not getting any comments, so that's strange. Anyways, no traffic, no noise. It's really interesting to see a country that's normally very famous for having so many people, and the streets are completely empty. And every year, I actually look forward to the Spring Festival to witness that and experience, empty streets and empty sidewalks and empty parks, because it's so drastically different. So I to see this as a continuation is really cool. It's just past 7 p.m., but it feels like 3 a.m. And it feels like that for me too. Someone pressed the pause button. Yeah, that's also true. It seems like everything in China is on pause. So I don't know why the chat's not working, but oh well. And hid all the delightful things in the coronavirus. Every single person is trying to stay far away from each other. Yeah. For such a communal country, and for people to maintain distance the way they are is a struggle. It's a struggle for the everyday person here. We don't know how long it will take to take off the masks. That's another thing. I think there was always a culture of wearing masks when you're sick in China, anyways. Uh, that's something you never see in the West. People have a cold or the flu, they don't wear masks, and oftentimes they go to work saying, "I'll be okay. I gotta keep working. Can't call in sick, right?" But here, many people, when they are feeling a little sniffle, they'll put on a mask. It's very common. So I think that people wearing masks outside is something that was very easy for the Chinese people to adopt. If they try to do that in a place like America, I don't think as many people would adopt it so quickly. Um, and say hello to our closest friends face to face. Yes, I've been doing a lot of just video talking with people. I can't see them face to face. But the support from China has swarmed into Wuhan. We are not afraid of the coronavirus. Good. Shouldn't be afraid of the coronavirus. It's people are treating others that have the coronavirus or might have the coronavirus as if they have a death sentence, and that is far from the case. I won't respit the statistics. Um, all those statistics that I put in my videos and everything, I've been called irresponsible for speaking about that. I've been called said people have said that it's comparing apples and oranges. It's not. The end results are always the same. And I stand by that. Um, it's math, and math cuts through emotion. Because we've got to love and hope. They are protecting our lives and risking their own. That's for the medical workers who should be praised. I have a lot of respect for doctors in this country. That's another thing I want to say. I'm an English teacher. Uh, make that very clear. I'm a very proud English teacher. But I've, in the past, have also trained doctors. Yeah, that's a. I know exactly what that is, and so let me explain what it is. It's a government program here in Guangdong that sends doctors of all types, everything from surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, and obstetricians and radiologists, and they send these doctors to other countries to learn, basically cross training, to learn methods and procedures and things like this. And they many of the doctors that I've been training already have very good English skills, but they're there to sharpen their skills. They're learning interview skills because they want to be part of this program. It's a very popular program amongst doctors. And you teach them medical terminology, English, and you teach them culture. I mean, part of my job as an English teacher is to teach culture, and because that's a huge part of the etymology of the language and understanding the language and where it comes from and why it's used in certain ways. That's all stems, especially in English, it stems from popular culture. So that's part of my job as well, as teaching that as an English teacher. And what to expect, how the restaurants are different, how to order in a Western restaurant, how to treat the staff because it's much different here in China. Things like this. It's yeah, yeah. But the doctors here are extremely well educated and very humble. In America, the doctors are some of the richest people in the country. They talk to them. They all drive big fancy cars, and it's well known that doctors make a good living. And they'll say, oh well, you got 10 years of of student loan debt, and then you make only 100,000 a year living in New York City. You still make a good living compared to the rest of the world. I mean, that's America for you, and that's why healthcare is so expensive. One of the reasons. There's many reasons, but that's one of the reasons. Here in China, the doctors don't make very much money, and they're extremely humble. And you ask them, why, and they say, well, if I drove a big BMW, it would look bad. It's I'm a doctor. My job is to help people, not to enrich myself. And that's kind of the attitude that almost every single I can't think of a doctor I've met in China who differs from that point of view. So I have an awful lot of respect for doctors here, and they've given up their. This is all hands on deck, right? In China, they've given up their holidays and times with their families to help people. So you gotta pat them on the back and give them. And it's not just the doctors; it's the nurses, it's the security guards at the hospitals, it's the parking lot attendant, it's the people working in the cafeteria to feed all these people, it's the pharmacist, it's everybody in the medical field that is enduring the brunt of all of this, and they deserve more credit than we are giving them. Only for one purpose. Give Wuhan back to us. Give Wuhan back to us. Don't be afraid of anything. Please be more patient. We will see that day again. The day we feel when the subway is too crowded. The day we think Wuhan people talk too loud in the restaurants. The day Wuhan University students complain that everyone wants to visit the campus for Cherry Blossom Festival. The day we plan what we eat for breakfast. That's another thing, the day we're stuck on a bridge and don't know why there are always too many people. And the day we could just laugh at each other and say, WTF. Wonderful. So I don't know why the chat's not working. I know many of you are trying to, I got some messages. Some of you are trying to send me some questions. And for some reason, the chat's not working. And I'm sorry for that. After the live stream goes live, you can put your questions down below and I'll try to answer them. I got another message here. Are you planning to stick it out in China? Yes, I'm not leaving China. Again, I think that this is just going to become, we're going to have to come to some kind of new normal here. And like I said, in a couple of weeks, people will be venturing out of their homes. The government will have to go back to work. Payrolls need to be processed. Banks need to open. Businesses need to open again. And the virus will still be here and still growing at the time. And you can't be, this is not the zombie apocalypse. It is something that needs to be dealt with, and the government's doing everything they can to do that. But we can still go about our lives in a smart way and live our lives. And we're going to have to. We can't be locked up in our homes for the next year. It doesn't make sense. I did get another message yesterday about the schools that they're talking about pushing back the opening of the schools. It was originally going to be, I think it was February 14th or 15th. One of those two, I can't remember, but now they're talking March 1st. So an additional 2 more weeks. I've tried to get confirmation on this. It was a message that's been going around to all the teachers. I tried to talk to my boss. I haven't heard back yet. So as far as I am concerned, I'm continuing to stay here, do my thing. And when I am done with my quarantine, I guess, if they don't let me come and go as pleased, I will leave on my own and go check into a hotel because I want freedom of movement. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be walking around the town coughing on people and spreading germs and stuff like that. But I do want the ability to go to the park. I want the ability to see my friends. As far as I know, I'm the only person in this city who is not allowed to come and go from their home as they please. People can still come and go from their homes as they please. They choose to stay home, but they have the option. They have the right to go to the supermarket, to walk around, to visit with their friends and family and have that interaction. I want that. And I miss that freedom. So if I'm not given that freedom, I'll just take it for myself. And they've given me the option. They said, yes, you can You can leave if you want and go stay with a friend or check into a hotel, but you won't be allowed back. So I will take that option if indeed if indeed they won't let me out in a couple weeks, in 8 more days. Let's see. Again, I think the chat's not working, so I'm going to end the live stream here fairly soon. I'll be available to answer your questions if you have any. I have more videos coming out. I'm going to make a couple more videos about life here on the campus and just how incredibly quiet it is. It's hard to say that it's boring because I have things that I can do and things that I do to stay busy. I'm on season 6 of Seinfeld. That's reruns. That's a show that I actually never watched. So I've taken the time and I downloaded all the seasons and I'm on season 6. So I'll continue to clean my apartment. There's nothing else really I can do. I feed the cats, but I don't play with them, of course. They're feral cats, but they keep the rodent population down on the campus. So it's good to have them around. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my latest rant. And stay tuned for what's coming up next. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.